All right, let's talk Alabama Crimson Tide football. Of course, this is a team ready to reload after a disappointing, we'll call it disappointing 2022 campaign. They're looking ready for 2023. We see a lot of pieces falling into place here. But Alabama, like all great college football teams, always keeps an eye in the future, not just in the short term, this coming season, but the long term. And we've got great news at a key position for the future of this Alabama program that should make fans of the Crimson Tide really excited.
Yeah, Nick, I think this news is actually a lot bigger than some people give it credit for. Some people may never even heard of it before, but the real people in the football know how big this is going to be. And also the real fans in the football know how important leadership is on a team. It's the glue that can kind of keep a unit together. So that's why I want to take a step back and go through Alabama history and ask the fans in the comments below, who's the best leader, on-field leader in Alabama history? There's got to be that one player that stood out to you. They could have been a great player, could not necessarily have been a superstar player, but they were undeniably a great leader and were able to, help this Alabama team be as great as it could be. So let us know in the comments below who's your favorite Alabama leader of all time. But Nick, nonetheless, let's get into it. What is the news about this new Alabama recruit?
Yeah, so going into the 2024 recruiting class, again, we're talking about future here. Sort of the gem of the class right now for Alabama is five-star commit Julian Sayin. And this is a guy who looks potentially even better than advertised. Even that's kind of hard to say because he's already a five-star. But we got a report from On3 Sports Minds if you want to go and throw it up. This is actually a tweet from Hayes Fawcett over at On3. They do a great job. Make sure you give Hayes Fawcett a follow. Highly recommend on Twitter. But from the report, five-star Alabama commit Julian Sayin has won the Elite 11 MVP. The Elite 11 staff accounts film, traits, and camp performance into the rankings. Tua Tagovailoa in 2016 is the last Alabama quarterback to win this prestigious honor. All right, for those of you who aren't familiar with Elite 11, it essentially is the best high school quarterbacks in the up-and-coming class going into college. They get them together and they compete. They go through drills, they watch film, and they kind of try and just crown the best quarterback. It's really sort of an iron sharpens iron thing for all these kids to come together, get better at being quarterback, but also to see where they rank and stack against each other. And Julian Sayin won the MVP, which means in all of the 2024 class, the best quarterbacks in that class, he was the best at this camp. And this camp is no joke. Like, this is serious quarterback competition, serious quarterback coaching. This is as good as it gets. So that's obviously a good sign, the fact that Julian Sayin differentiated himself for the 2024 class. But let's go look back at the history of what the MVPs of this Elite 11 camp have gone on to do. So we'll start with 2021. How about Cade Klubnik, now the starting quarterback at Clemson, won out that job. He looks to be a great guy over at Clemson. Obviously did a good job the last couple games of the season. He looks like a rising superstar for the Clemson Tigers. How about 2020? The MVP of that camp, mice, Caleb Williams from Southern Cal, formerly of Oklahoma. Everyone's calling Caleb Williams, obviously won the Heisman Trophy, the next Patrick Mahomes, so that's some good sign there. 2019, CJ Stroud, obviously great career at Ohio State, dominating for Houston Texans so far through mini camps and OTAs. Looks like a great NFL prospect. So again, top flight guy there. 2018, Spencer Rattler. I think he was pretty good at Oklahoma. He just had the misfortune of Caleb Williams joining him right behind him, and he's doing a lot of good things for South Carolina right now. So again, a lot of good evidence there. And then 2017, there was Justin Fields from Georgia, then to transfer to Ohio State. Obviously dominated at Ohio State before losing to Alabama in the national championship game a few years ago. It's now doing a lot of great things for the Chicago Bears in the NFL. And to wrap out the recent rankings, you have Tua in 2016, which Alabama fans don't need me to describe at all. Miles, I think the fact that Julian Sayin has won the MVP is a great sign, because if you go down that list, virtually everybody who wins MVP has at minimum a really good college career, and at maximum is the best quarterback prospect of the last 2 decades, looking at Caleb Williams in that case. I think it's a great sign that Alabama has found not just a good quarterback, not just a great quarterback, but a Tua level quarterback, an elite level talent that can do amazing things for this program the moment he steps on the campus in Tuscaloosa. But Miles, I'll throw it over to you now. What are your thoughts on Sayin and just everything with the Alabama program right now?
Yeah, Nick, you say that, but also, I mean, some of these guys, there's been evidence early on that they go on to have reasonable NFL success early on. Although Tua and Fields are the latest of those two, they're still relatively early on, first contracts of their NFL careers. They've both showed success. They can operate in an NFL like system. So these guys, if you win the MVP of an Elite 11 camp, you're one of the best quarterback recruits in the entire country, but you could go on to be a top tier, like #1 overall draft pick. That is the level that these guys get to. And I really, it's no surprise that a guy like this is going to go to Alabama, because that's just who they get. They get all kinds of top tier guys. Other guys from Alabama, I think AJ McCarron was in Elite 11. I'm not sure if he was the MVP or not, but he was the type of caliber player that made the cut, because this is a very, very rigorous cycle. There's like regionals, there's all kinds of competitions, and goes all the way down. There's a final cut to make the whole camp, and then the best of the absolute best guys are left in that last group. So to win the MVP of that last group is absolutely phenomenal. I'm really excited to see what Julian Sayin is going to do, because he is a guy that has all of the tools you want, Nick. He's like almost 6'2", 190, 200 pounds. He's got pretty good size for a quarterback. He's going to come into Alabama, have every single tool available to him. So this is a guy that can come in and keep dominating the way that he did in high school. I mean, this guy in 2021, Nick, he threw 181 out of 200, completed 181 out of 253 passes for almost 2,800 yards, 34 touchdowns. So he was absolutely phenomenal. Goes on to throw again for 2,700 yards in 2022 with another 27 touchdowns. And he just looks like an absolutely dominant force when he gets out on the field. So I think Alabama fans got to be excited about a guy like this coming in to be the next heir apparent to the Alabama throne.